Yo, what is up YouTube? Back with another video today. We are going to be predicting the Jacksonville Jaguars 2022 to 2023 NFL record. So the NFL Hall of Fame game is coming up. We got 32 teams to predict, and let's just start with the Jaguars because, we're going to see them on Thursday in the Hall of Fame game against the Raiders, I believe. So when you think of the Jaguars, you think of the worst team in the NFL. Come on, be realistic. They've had the worst record in the league 2 years in a row, back-to-back first picks in the draft in 2 different seasons. That's like Cleveland Browns level. Like, you never want to drop that low, but still. We need to talk about why this team was so bad before we talk about them this year. And it wasn't really the players, it was the coaching. We all know Urban Meyer was the coach of this team last season. And if you ask me who the worst coach in NFL history was, it's him. I've never seen such a more embarrassing coach ever. This dude didn't take pride in being an NFL coach. He just did it for the money and got fired mid-season. We all know that was just embarrassing. This team went on to lose a lot of games after he got fired. But they ended their season on a very positive note, beating the Colts at home 11-26, giving the Steelers a playoff spot, so that was very surprising. So, on a positive note, winning that last game against a pretty good team, let's talk about them and their schedule this season. So we all know they actually got a new coach, Doug Peterson. He won the Super Bowl with the Eagles in 2017, and ever since, the Eagles, I don't know what happened there, but he got fired, basically, and now he's the coach of the Jaguars. It's good to state that this team, even though it's been very bad, has potential. It could be one of those teams that could surprise us all. We all, suspect this team to have a losing record, but you never know. This team could surprise us. Maybe make a playoff push. So let's start off by looking at their roster. They got Trevor Lawrence at QB. First pick in the draft last year. Probably has a lot of promise. We also have Travis Etienne Jr., running back. He was drafted 2 years ago and got injured the entire last year. But once again, these two players have played with each other at Clemson, and they probably already have chemistry. Well, they already do. And they got Christian Kirk from the Cardinals, Marvin Jones Jr., and they got Evan Ingram from the Giants. All three of these players aren't, the star players in the league, but they're good enough to maybe lead this team to a solid, obviously better record than last year. And obviously they had the first pick in the draft this year again, and they drafted Trayvon Walker, who's obviously going to make a big impact for their defense. So let's look at their schedule. I don't want to go into the specifics because I don't want this video to be very long, but week 1, they're on the road. They're playing the Washington Commanders. This team is going to be better, the Commanders, than they have been in the past. I think this because of Carson Wentz, Jahan Dotson being new to this team. They already got Terry McLaurin. They have a solid team. They just never had a good quarterback. I think Carson Wentz is going to fill that spot in. This is in D.C. At this point in time, we all know the Commanders are the better team, and they are going to win. The next game they have is week 2 at home against the Colts. So I know what you're thinking. They're obviously going to lose this game. The Colts are such a better team. Well, even if they are, I think the Jaguars get the win. I only say this because look at the past. The last time the Colts have beaten the Jaguars in Jacksonville was 2014. 2014. That's a solid 8 years ago. And you're probably wondering, how's it even possible? I don't know either. And for that reason, I'm picking the Jaguars. They beat them week 18 last year. They destroyed them, and I see it happening again. Week 3, the Jaguars go on the road and they play the Chargers. Chargers are going to be one of the best teams in the league. They have a very, very, very electric offense. And with the addition of Khalil Mack on defense in the offseason, Chargers are going to be a very good team, probably the team to beat in their division. Even that's a bold statement because they're in the Chiefs division and Broncos and Raiders. They didn't even make the playoffs last year, but I already think the Chargers are going to be really good, and the Chargers are going to get the win. Next, they have another road game, unfortunately, so they go all the way across the country to LA and then they go home, and then they go to all the way north of Philadelphia, play the Eagles. Eagles are going to be a solid team. I think this game is going to be, close. Why do I say this? Because you got Doug Peterson. He knows all these players. He was the coach of the Eagles. And as bold of a statement as this may seem, and as, what the heck are you talking about? I think the Jaguars actually get the win. No, I think Doug Peterson outplays his old team. And the Jaguars get a very crucial win at this point in the season, starting 2-2. So this is going to be a huge win. I obviously think the Eagles have a better roster. They're probably going to be a better team at the end of the year. I just think, it's early in the season, Jaguars get the upset. That's all I'm trying to say. With all that motivation, going on the road, beating the Eagles, they have a home game the following week against the Texans. I think they get the win again. I think the Texans are going to be one of the worst teams in the league. I mean, what's there to say about that team? It's just really bad. It's worse than the Jaguars, and it's going to be worse this season. Jaguars start 3-2. The following week, they go on the road and they play the Colts. So, as I was saying, the Jaguars, they beat the Colts at home. But it's quite the opposite when they go on the road. They haven't beaten the Colts on the road since 2017. I think it stays like that. I think the Colts get the win. The Jaguars, they lose. They start 3-3. The following week, they play the New York Giants at home. I think the Giants are on par with the Texans to probably get the first pick in the draft. Daniel Jones just ain't it. This team's embarrassing. Their defense isn't that bad. Saquon Barkley's going to be healthy, and if he's healthy, could be a solid offense, but I don't think so. Jaguars get the win, and they start the season 4-3. Who would have thought? So with all that being said, this team, they have a winning record at week 7. Could this team potentially make the playoffs? Well, I forgot to mention the rest of their schedule. Let's just fly through this. After getting a home win against the Giants, they have to go to London the next week and play the Broncos. I think the Broncos, they haven't been impressive to me in the past couple seasons, but they got Russell Wilson. That's really all you need. He's a high-tier quarterback. He's going to make this team better. At this point in the season, it's like week 9 or week 8. He's going to be used to the new team. Broncos get the win. The following week, after a long week of traveling to London, they have another home game against the Raiders. And I think this game is very winnable. I think it'll be very close. But with the addition of Davante Adams to the Raiders, that offense is going to be scary. The Raiders have to adapt to their division just being insane, or they have no shot at making the playoffs. On the contrary, you have the Jaguars, and I think they're in the worst division, second worst division in the league. The Titans, although they got the first seed, they're not impressive. The Colts didn't even make the playoffs. The Texans are the worst. They have the luxury of losing a couple games, but not true with the Raiders. Raiders get the win. They have to win this game. After that, they go on the road. They play the Chiefs. They're not winning that game. The week after that, they have a bye week. And the week after that, they have a home game against the Ravens. I'm not a huge Ravens fan. I think they're very overhyped every season. If you look at division predictions at the beginning of every season, it has the Ravens winning every single time. But when's the last time they won their division? Yeah, that's what I thought. Although, I just talk trash about them. They are a pretty good team. Lamar Jackson is a very good quarterback, but he is too predictable. Name any good receiver on the Ravens besides Mark Andrews, the tight end. You can't. They have a solid running game, but J.K. Dobbins, their starting running back, he's coming off of a season-ending injury last year. So is this team going to be good or not? Yeah, it'll probably be pretty good, but it's the Jaguars can't compete. They're not winning. Ravens get the win. Okay, so after losing 5 games in a row, maybe 4, they go on the road against the Lions. This is going to be, if you lose this game, you're basically out of the playoff picture. You got to get a win here if you're the Jaguars. I don't really care about home field advantage in this matchup. It is what it is. These two teams were the first and second pick in the draft in 2022. I think both these teams are dramatically going to improve this season because you can't be that bad for that long and, continue to be that bad. You need to get better, and they will get better. So, how I was talking about how the Jaguars will improve? I do believe the same about the Lions, which is why I think this game is going to be very close. It's just so far into the season. It's in December. I honestly have no idea which team's going to win this game. And, I could just 50-50 it right now, and I'd probably have better odds of just guessing. I think the Lions are a very motivated team. Their coach is incredible. Although they didn't have a really good season last year, I can see the determination in the Lions coach and how he really, really wants to win. I think this team's going to maybe do a 180, and the Jaguars get the loss. Next, we got our first matchup against the division rival Titans. This is on the road. I think the Titans are going to be pretty decent team. They got the first seed last year. They got Derrick Henry, the best running back in the NFL. But I don't think they're going to be as good as they were last season. They lost A.J. Brown to the Eagles. But they're still going to be a solid team. I think the Jaguars, they can compete, maybe at home, but not against the Titans on the road. I think the Titans get the win. Derrick Henry will literally run you over. You've seen the 99-yard touchdowns against the Jaguars. Who's stopping him? Next, you have a home game against the Cowboys. I think this will probably be a funny game to watch because I wouldn't be surprised if you won. I think this is like one of those really weird games that I think you do win, but I just can't give you the win. The Cowboys are the better team, better offense, better defense, better record at this point in time, and they're going to win. So at this point in the season, you only have 4 wins, and it's, week 17? You're playing the Jets. No, this is week 16. You're playing the Jets on the road. So you have 4 wins. You're 4-10. You have 3 more games left to play. Why would you want to win these games when you could get a better draft pick, especially against the Jets? I don't like teams throwing games, but you see it here and there, and this is a perfect game to lose because the Jets are most likely going to also have a bad record, basically competing for the better draft pick. You lose this game, but it's worth it. It's basically worth. Next week, you play the Texans. This is also, you already know you're gonna probably win this game, but why try? Get a better draft pick. There's no point in winning. The Texans are probably gonna be the worst team in the league, maybe have a worse record than you at this point in time. So maybe you lose on purpose just to get a better draft pick, and that's probably the smartest thing to do. But honestly, how are you going to lose this game? You're better than the Texans. It's on the road. Somehow I find a way for you to lose it. I just see it. And it's week 18, last game of the season. You're playing the Titans at home. I could see a repeat of what happened last year. We put the Colts at home, remember? And then you beat them and nobody thought you were going to win. I could see that happening. Only because I do believe the Titans will most likely have already clinched a playoff spot or won their division. So they bench their starters. They don't need to play. Jaguars get the win. I don't like to do predictions based off that, but it's most likely going to happen. The Titans bench their players. The Jaguars should get the win. Even though they should realistically lose for a better draft pick, I think they get the win. So, not bad, Jacksonville. You've continuously been the worst team in the league, but you improved to 5 wins this year. That's not bad. The Bengals, they had 5 wins 2 years ago, and then last year they won the Super Bowl. So, just like that, maybe you could be in the Super Bowl next year. But with all that being said, the thing about the AFC is just look at the teams. Just look at them. The AFC North has the Bengals, Browns, Ravens, Steelers. Are any of those teams bad? No, none of those teams are bad. You have the Bills, the Dolphins, the Jets, the Patriots. Out of those 4 teams, only the Jets are bad. You have the Colts, the Titans, the Texans, and your team. You and the Texans, they're bad. The Broncos, Chargers, Chiefs, Raiders, they're all good. The AFC is highly competitive. And, you got to be the best of the best to win it. Not this year, Jacksonville, maybe in the future. Thanks for watching. Adios.